I know these speeches always start out with something like, I'm so glad to see all of you here today to celebrate this wonderful blah, blah, blah. I have never felt it more acutely. I am so thrilled to see you all here today. It makes me want to cry. So thank you so much for coming out and for making the effort. My big decision this morning was whether to wear my vote mask or my BPL mask, so I'm trying to do both. This is a project that has been long in the making, and there are a lot of people to thank, great minds and hard work that went into making it as terrific as it is. But first, I'd like to say a few words. The Greenpoint Library is designed to honor the history of this land and to educate those future generations to care for it. In nearby Newtown Creek, one of the largest spills in American history led to a library and environmental education center covered in solar panels and pollinator plants. And I'll talk a little bit about how that all happened shortly. But it teaches us a lesson. We know that in times of great difficulty, times of great difficulty can lead to crucial change. And in this vein, I would like to say a word about injustices that occurred long before we were concerned about the condition of the environment. This land, and the land on which every one of our libraries sit, was at one time the home of the Lenape people. And I'd like to acknowledge the indigenous people who once and still live here, and pay respect to the Lenape, past, present, and future generations. As I said before, this project is the result of a lot of hard work and a lot of really creative and innovative thinking. Thanks to our brilliant architect, Marble Fairbanks, our innovative landscape architect, Scape, our meticulous builder, Westerman Construction, every last detail of this building, inside and out, celebrates the natural world and encourages us to relate to it with curiosity and wonder. We hope it will be a model for the many libraries we are working to revitalize across Brooklyn and for 21st century libraries across the country. In 2020, we need more libraries that make vital knowledge and inspiring design accessible to all people. We need more libraries that empower the public to build a more sustainable and a more just world. Greenpoint is already a model for what becomes possible when you have so many stellar partners working toward a common goal. We are at the library hugely grateful to the Greenpoint Community Environmental Fund, a partnership between the New York State Attorney General, Letitia James, and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. To the mayor and the administration, to our borough president, Eric Adams, to Speaker Corey Johnson and council member Steve Levin, who's with us today, and to Assemblyman Joseph Lenthal, who's also here today. To the Department of Design and Construction, the New York State Education Department, and DCAS, and to the Spectrum Learning Lab program for supporting the branch's technology and internet service. A particular thanks, a deep, deep appreciation for the BPL staff who pulled this project off despite the disorientation and disruption that 2020 brought. I work for the library. That 2020 brought to all of us, but especially to Ames O'Neill and to Heinrich Spillman, who I know are floating around, but who really have become so deeply invested in this project. And a sincere thanks to Alexa Orr and our entire Greenpoint team. This library could not be in better hands. In addition to giving Brooklyn an absolutely beautiful library, you have all given it a useful parable. I would like to thank Karen Fairbanks and Jason Roberts for giving me something to feel optimistic about, even in the midst of 2020, which you know was a feat. Marble Fairbanks designed this extraordinary space. There were so many ideas about what it needed to be LEED certified model of sustainable design, an outdoor classroom, a vibrant space for teens, a tech-smart programming space, and a refuge for reading. Only an architect as brilliant as Karen Fairbanks could translate all those visions into the coherent building we stand before today. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Linda. Good morning, everybody. Congratulations to the Brooklyn Public Library and the Greenpoint community on the opening of your new branch library. I'm Karen Fairbanks, here on behalf of my firm, Marble Fairbanks, and the rest of our extraordinary design team, and I'm joined by Jason Roberts, the project manager for this project. We couldn't have asked for a more important project to be part of, connecting the critical role that libraries play to the urgent work of environmental activism. Focused on environmental education, the Greenpoint Library and Environmental Education Center provides greatly expanded spaces for all the activities your amazing librarians and community organizations are planning. And it is itself a demonstration of sustainable and resilient design. This project highlights the ongoing and really visionary work of the Brooklyn Public Library, providing uniquely inspired, community-focused branches throughout the borough. And it validates the power of communities to be integral partners in the design process, which was truly collaborative, and we enjoyed that process so much. The library has spaces for children and adults, both reading rooms visually connected to the street, and you're here looking at the adult space, the children's around the corner. And for the first time in Greenpoint, dedicated space for teens upstairs. It's designed to engage all ages in learning and research and to adapt to your needs. The community rooms and the teen room can serve as labs for experiments as well as spaces for gathering. And the design invites the public, as you are today, to linger in the outdoor civic space of the street, as well as on the two green roofs above with the reading gardens and demonstration gardens. This building is going to change over time, transformed by the environment. The sand-blasted cedar wood panels above reveal their patterns of growth in the texture of their grain and the knots in the wood. These panels will age in gray, beginning to match the color of the concrete panels below, right here, that were cast from those very same panels of wood. The landscape in the gardens will change with the seasons and renew every spring. Inside, you'll find that these 4 solar windows here are aligned to mark the solstices and the equinoxes. The design is rooted in this site and in this place. And we were very pleased also to highlight Brooklyn-based fabricators and artists in the process. The building is a scaffold for future growth and change as your library and your needs evolve. We hope it serves you well. We hope it inspires you and sustains you and supports your community. It grew out of community activism, and it aspires to nurture the growth of future activists concerned with the environment and the climate crisis, activists in Greenpoint and beyond. So on behalf of my firm and our entire design team, including the landscape architect Scape, thank you, Linda, and the incredible team at BPL for your trust in us to lead the design of this building. It has been our greatest pleasure to be part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen and Jason. I'd like to welcome our dedicated councilman and a true library champion and his adorable son, Albert, to the podium.
Thank you, Linda. And I'll keep my remarks brief and I have to stay in motion or else he'll start to scream. So I just want to thank BPL for investing in Greenpoint and for building a sustainable library branch that we can all be proud of for many generations. This is a real testament also to the dedication of the Greenpoint community. As Linda said, this was about 10 years ago that then Attorney General Andrew Cuomo announced a settlement with ExxonMobil that led to the GSEF process. And and it's been a labor of love for a lot of people in the neighborhood. A lot of hours have gone into this. It was a very thoughtful process, and I want to acknowledge Laura Trisiokas and Richard Mazer from North Brooklyn Development Corporation because they really managed, along with Peter Washburn from the Attorney General's office, a really thoughtful process, a really community-involved process, an open and transparent process, and it could have gone in any direction, and it went in a direction that I think everybody felt comfortable with. And this is one of many projects that came out of that fund. This is really the jewel of that process. And I want to thank Dewey Thompson, who has put so much time into this as well. Dewey. And I want to acknowledge our Assemblyman, Joe Lenthal, who fought for this community and for environmental justice in this community year after year to make sure that this is the largest terrestrial oil spill in United States history is a couple blocks away from here, and this community deserves to have to be compensated for that. And Joe has advocated year in and year out for this for a long time. So I want to acknowledge Joe's great work. I'm also very excited to see our Senator Brian Kavanaugh and a former council member, my colleague Diana Reyna, who's here. But also, as Linda said, this is really a testament to really thoughtful planning and beautiful. The design is amazing, and the dedication of the BPL staff, the board, and everyone that's worked on this, all the architecture and construction individuals that worked on this have been extraordinary. And so I'm very excited, and I can't wait to bring. He can't read yet, but I'm excited. This is also going to be our local library, so this is very exciting in the Carroll Levin household. So thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you, Steve. Steve and the library have been working on projects all over the place, and it's really exciting to see one come into fruition. If we have Brian Kavanaugh, great. Come on up, say a few words, and then we'll be hearing from the mayor.
So my job is really to stall, and the mayor is on his way.
Not too much.
Not too much. But no, it's a great pleasure to be here. Steve talked about all the people, the local people, the elected officials, including our great assembly member, Joe Lenthal, who really worked long and hard for this project. I honestly cannot say I worked long and hard for this project because my very first thing I did after being nominated to the Senate seat was to show up for the groundbreaking on this site. People looked on quizzically as Assemblymember Brian Kavanaugh of Manhattan said a few words about libraries at that wonderful event a few years ago. But it really is wonderful to see the project come to fruition. I love libraries, and I love really every library, but especially when a community like this comes together to think through exactly what we need in this community. When the Brooklyn Public Library, under Linda's leadership and all the people that put this together, come together and build such a wonderful facility that so well reflects, as Linda said, not only the fact that this is a neighborhood that has experienced a lot of environmental problems, but also tremendous environmental activism. So I had a chance to walk through. I see a very large Suburban showing up, so perhaps that's my cue. But I really do want to thank everybody who's involved in this, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you here today. And I also do want to acknowledge in particular Assemblymember Lenthal, who I served with for 11 years in the Assembly. I've now served for 3 years as the senator for this area, and really just has been a leader on statewide issues, on issues in this community. We have the great benefit of his service for 2 more months and a few weeks, but I know for many years he will continue to be involved and be a leader and inspiration to all of us. So thank you, and I think, is the mayor? Okay, and I think the mayor is here, so I will just thank you all.
Thank you, Senator. And now I will stall until the mayor gets out of the car, because we are actually quite thrilled that he made time in his schedule to be with us today. Yeah, I said I was so thrilled to have a pigeon 2 feet away from me, not socially distanced. Thrilled to see you all here today. I think we're all particularly excited about an event like this, not only because it's a beautiful building and offers so much to the community, and that so much good came out of so much bad, but I think it's just a sign of how we all crave to be together. And I know it's a great treat for me to be able to see all of you here today. And I will now ask the mayor to join me at the podium. What? Oh, Yannicka, great, sorry. Now, I wanted to actually, I am told that I need to also introduce to you one of the library's super users. For those of you who don't know what a library super user is, this adorable 12-year-old is a great example of somebody who's been using the library since she was crawling. She probably came to story times back then, but now she's reading up a storm. And we have patrons like Yannicka all over the borough, but her local library was right here on this land, and so she's here to say a few words to us before we hear from the mayor, and she will actually introduce Mayor de Blasio. Yannicka?
Ever since I was a baby, I've been coming to the library. I'd play with toys, read baby books, and take part of many of the toddler activities the library had to offer. I've been living in Greenpoint my whole life, and the library has been a really big part of my childhood. Living only a few blocks away, I'd come to the library almost every day. It's a great place to study, meet up with friends, or just immerse yourself in a book. I love the library for its great books, friendly staff, and interactive programs. I'm excited to get back to our new and improved library because it provides asylum. It's a peaceful place to go to escape the chaos of daily life. I look forward to exploring and reading new books, and mostly its presence. I like to know that I can just check out a book whenever I want to, instead of going all the way up to Manhattan for a book that might not even be there. And that's why I would really like to thank the mayor for making this possible. Welcome, Mayor de Blasio.
Thank you. Great job. Great job. Good to see you. Yannicka, hold on, I'm going to take this off too. Yannicka, that was really wonderful. And I love, first of all, you're incredibly poised. And your love for the library was so clear and so true. And a lot of us grew up spending a whole lot of time in libraries. And I can tell you it's a really good thing to do. So you're on the right path. Let's give Yannicka a real warm round of applause. Well done. Everybody, I want to just say a thank you to everyone, first of all. When something like this happens, it is because a lot of people got together and made it happen. This is a beautiful addition to the Greenpoint community. And I know a lot of community members, and I bet a lot of people here fought for this and worked for this for a long time. I want to congratulate Linda and everyone at Brooklyn Public Library. And I want to say a special thank you to the elected officials, Senator Kavanaugh, Councilmember Levin, thank you, but a special warm appreciation, someone who has done so much for Greenpoint, so much for Brooklyn, so much for New York City, and has fought for us in Albany for so many years, Assemblyman Joe Lenthal. Thank you. Joe, I just want to say just a personal thank you. You have done amazing things in the course of your career, and I've watched with great admiration, and just want you to know we all really, really appreciate everything you've given to all of us. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. So let me just say this very quickly. If this were any other time in history, this would be a beautiful new space for the community. We would celebrate that. If we never heard about the pandemic, if it never existed, we would be celebrating an amazing new library. We would be celebrating that the community's voice was heard. We would be celebrating that this is a green library, that this is an example of fighting climate change, protecting our communities, protecting our children and future generations, proving that we can overcome some of the mistakes of previous generations and build things the right way to protect future generations. If there were no pandemic, we would celebrate all those things, and we should still celebrate all those things. But the real reason, by the way, Deputy Borough President, my apology, I did not see you at first. Diana Reyna, welcome. But if it were for all of those reasons, it would be enough. But here's what I'm feeling today. I am feeling a spirit of rebirth. I am feeling that this is an example that no matter what is thrown at Greenpoint or Brooklyn or New York City, we keep coming back. You hear people out there saying New York City is dead. You hear people saying it's over for New York City. Someone even called New York City a ghost town recently. Does this look like a ghost town to you? Does this look like a ghost town, what this is going to be for this community? No. This extraordinary spirit that is certainly my beloved Brooklyn, but is all in New York City. So we fight through everything. We fight through anything. We couldn't have imagined this pandemic. A year ago, we had never even heard the word coronavirus. And yet here we are today, together, with hope, with belief, with faith in our city and each other. And we're opening something, we're starting something, we're stepping toward the future. So this is a moving moment for so many reasons. So everyone, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone who brought us to this day, but I want to thank you for being here, because just being here shows you believe in New York City and our future, and you will build New York City and our future together. Thank you. God bless you all.
This is a scary thing.
Yes. Hold on, I like when you approach me with scissors there.
You stay 6 feet away.
That's right. Because of the scissors, not because of the photo. Okay.
All right, are you going to do this together?
Yes, do you want? You want to bus? You want anyone else? Is that the entire ceremony? Okay, keep going. I don't want to hold you up. Okay. All right.
Oh, it is very hard to speak with this thing. I'm thrilled that Laura Trisiokas from the Greenpoint Community Environmental Fund is also here today to celebrate this milestone. Also for her, a labor of love, I believe. This is the vision that GSEF generously made possible today. Please welcome Laura.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Trisiokas. It's a hard name for everyone to pronounce. I'm the Greenpoint Community Environmental Fund outreach consultant. Unfortunately, Peter Washburn, who's been an amazing advocate for this community on behalf of the State Attorney General's office, cannot be here today. He apologizes, but I'm going to make a few remarks. The ExxonMobil oil spill was devastating to the Greenpoint community, spilling up to 30 million gallons and contaminating over 50 acres, compounding a legacy of environmental abuse and neglect here. The state held the community accountable, including requiring ExxonMobil to commit to a full cleanup and pay $19.5 million, specially earmarked for improving the community's environment. The Greenpoint Community Environmental Fund, GSEF for short, was born in 2011. The goal was to invest the $19.5 million payment through a process that was open, transparent, and ensured ongoing engagement and partnership with the community. Since its inception, GSEF has grown the initial $19.5 million into close to $68 million, invested as 79 grants into 47 projects. The idea of renovating the Greenpoint Library to make it an environmental and education showcase came from this community, proposed by a partnership of the Brooklyn Library and a host of local environmental groups. And through a voting process designed with GSEF's advisory panel of Greenpoint residents, representatives of local organizations, and elected officials, Greenpoint chose the Greenpoint Library to receive well over $5 million. These monies were used to integrate state-of-the-art green building features into this library and to create an environmental education center that will serve as a hub for community-based environmental programs, exhibits, and information. Additional GSEF funding has also been used for a community oral history and scanning project that has enabled Greenpoint residents to share stories, as well as historic photographs, documents, and memorabilia that capture Greenpoint's environmental history. GSEF is proud to partner with the Greenpoint community in helping to create the new Greenpoint Library and Environmental Education Center, a community institution that will promote environmental understanding, appreciation, and engagement in Greenpoint for years to come. And I know I've run over my 2-minute allotment, but I just want to give a quick plug. If you want to support the library moving forward, follow Friends of Greenpoint Library on all forms of social media to advocate and fundraise for the branch. And just personally as a Greenpoint resident, I want to say I am very excited to come and use this library when it fully opens. It's beautiful. Thank you, Marble Fairbanks. It's really a tremendous accomplishment. And thank you, Brooklyn Public Library.
Thank you, Laura Trisiokas. And you can always go over your allotted time if you use it to plug the library. It's now my honor and pleasure to introduce my partner in crime in all things library, the chairman of the Brooklyn Public Library Board, Susan Marcinek. I just want to personally thank Susan for her leadership. Without the Board of Trustees and the support of our many board members, we could never have embarked on a project like this or the dozens of revitalization projects that we have going all over the borough. So please join me in welcoming Susan.
Thank you, Linda. I would like to start by thanking Brooklyn Public Library's Board of Trustees for cheering this project on from the very start. And thank you to our many, many partners on the Community Advisory Committee. If you're part of it, raise your hand as I call out these wonderful organizations. The Friends of Greenpoint Library, our local elected officials, Community Board 1, the Newtown Creek Alliance, the North Brooklyn Community Boathouse, Town Square, North Brooklyn Neighbors, the Eagle Street Rooftop Farm, and the Polish and Slavic Center. Thank you for your energy, your ideas, and your determination. Working together, you ensured that this library reflects the resiliency of your community and will for many generations to come. We're especially grateful to Dewey Thompson, the founder and president of the North Brooklyn Boat Club. Legend has it, it was Dewey who first thought of dedicating this library to environmental education. He proposed the idea at a fateful breakfast to BPL's own David Wallach, and eventually to BPL's former chief librarian, Rich Reyes Gavilan. So Dewey, we will forever be indebted to your stroke of genius.
Thank you, Susan. Susan thanked many of our partners on this project, and this morning I would like to thank one partner in particular for everything he has done for Greenpoint Library and for so many other libraries as well. Assemblyman Lenthal, thank you for your steadfast generosity. Why don't you come up? Thank you for your steadfast generosity and loyalty to public libraries. Thank you for dedicating the past 4 decades to creating and maintaining public spaces and public services for your community. We have enormous admiration and gratitude for everything that you have done for the people of Brooklyn. You have left an indelible mark on this city and undoubtedly on our library system. And as a small token of our appreciation, I have a gift for you, which is actually quite large.
Oh, wow.
This is a key to the library. Would you like to say a few things?
Oh, my goodness. Can I try it?
Not while the Marble Fairbanks folks are here.
So, Marvell, you've actually done us proud with this beautiful building. Let's hear it for the Greenpoint Library building. Wow. I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. Especially, I need to thank Linda Johnson for her effort in making sure that this library got built, and all of her staff that worked tirelessly to complete the task in record time. Even though it wasn't necessary because of the pandemic, you did it anyway. And I have to say that I believe that the GSEF people who are here, Laura Trisiokas, who represents most of them, really did us proud as well. And I want to thank all of the elected officials for acknowledging me. I was really getting bored like you were hearing it. And I want to thank the friends of the library and all of the staff of the library for helping to put this together. Thank you, friends, because you know that libraries need friends. And I just want to tell you a story that I used to come here as a kid to study at the library. And obviously, the library did me no good, and you just have to look at my grades to see that. But I have to say that it was really a godsend to have a library right here in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And every day that I came here and every day that I come here as an adult, this library is full with people reading books, playing games, getting out things that I never heard of out of the shelves, and books on tape, and other stuff that this library presents. It's not only, as they say, it's not just books. So ladies and gentlemen, and all of my colleagues in government, you really did a good job this time, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of you, and I thank you very much for this lovely tribute. Thank you. Congratulations.
In better days, I'd give Joe a hug. I'd like to ask Dewey Thompson if he'd like to say a few words. Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you, Joe. That's the only old-fashioned thing connected with this library. I guess I'm kind of representing the Community Advisory Committee that Ames put together to oversee the project from the beginning, and I want to thank Ames for doing such a great job of plugging us in and allowing us to have so much input and feedback as the process went. And Marbles Fairbanks for taking an extraordinary amount of feedback and doing amazing things with it. Such creativity and resourcefulness. I mean, we only saw a little bit of what you guys were struggling with as the usual budget things were happening and deadlines, and the library is really extraordinary. I also want to thank the GSEF crew, Peter Washburn and Laura Trustees, the people from National Fish and Wildlife. They really did, as Steve pointed out, it was a really thoughtful process, and I think that the library may be one of the longest lasting legacies of that. I mean, there have been amazing programs, incredible education initiatives all over the neighborhood, but the library will be here, I think, for generations and generations, and that's an amazing thing for that grant to have finally given us. And of course, Dave Wallach for taking this vague idea and running with it. I also want to thank Randy and the Friends of the Brooklyn Public, of the Greenpoint Library, for the work they're doing and are going to do, because as Joe said, the library is going to need friends. It's going to get overwhelmed with people, and so I know the community is going to step up. I just want to say that, you know, this is the right facility in the right place at the right time, and that I think is pretty rare. The Greenpoint is an unusual environment. It's a unique environment, a peninsula in this estuary with the East River and the Newtown Creek. It's really unlike almost any other neighborhood in the city, and is, as an urban estuary, provides an amazing laboratory for study. And its history, of course, is the history of the Industrial Revolution and the Industrial Revolution's pollution. That is etched into the shoreline and seeped into the soil all over this neighborhood. And right, you know, from 150, 175 years ago to the Superfund work that's being done right now. And then finally, it's the right place because Greenpoint's community has responded, as you pointed out, to the list of organizations, many supported by GSEF recently, is an extraordinary outpour of interest and engagement, activism, and a healthy dose of citizen science that, you know, in the ultimate view, I think, is that the library, with its amazing facilities and staff, will be the hub of a wheel that the spokes of which are all these community organizations reaching out. I know from the North Brooklyn Community Boathouse that we are so excited about being able to take students and other community members who connect with the library out onto the creek and onto the East River, and field trips to go do environmental work right in that laboratory, in the field. And I know that Newtown Creek Alliance and many other organizations are so excited about plugging into that same opportunity to have this spectacular base from which to both archive the amazing history that's here, but also the ongoing necessary remediation work that is going to go on into the future. So I think it's just an enormously satisfying thing to have something feel so right and so relevant to where we are right now. And thank you all.
So it's hard to imagine that there could be more people to thank. But there's some really important folks that I'd like to mention before we go our separate ways. First of all, there's a couple of Brooklyn Public Library trustees here. Diana Reyna, thank you for being here, and Lincoln Ressler, who lives in the neighborhood. I hope you all know Lincoln, and thank you for being here as well and for keeping a special eye out on this project. I'd like to thank the 94th Precinct. Thank you guys for being here today. Really, really appreciate it. And finally, there are two heroes here that haven't been sung this morning. And one is Brett Robinson, who, as I pulled up, it occurred to me, he's no longer with the library, but it occurred to me, man, I've got to reach out to that guy, because this was really, this was his baby, and look how great it is. And so then I saw that Brett actually is here. So Brett, thank you. Brett, in his modest way, said to me, well, throw enough stuff up in the air and then run, and, something works out. And I want to say that the reason that it worked out is because the person who caught some of that stuff that he threw up in the air when she joined our team caught it and ran with it. And that would be Karen Sheehan, who's also here today. Thank you, Karen. Getting this project over the finish line in the middle of a pandemic when you weren't supposed to be doing construction was no small feat. We had many long conversations about just how we were going to accomplish that, and she is nothing if not tenacious and smart. So thank you to both of you guys. And again, I'll say something about Ames and Heinrich. Thank you guys. Labor of love for you. And for the librarians who will be here for the future, thank you all for coming out today. Alexa and your team. I hope that it's not long before the neighborhood can come in and start using this library as they envision it. Thank you all for coming. Stay safe, stay healthy, and for God's sakes, vote.